Once Flare fell asleep, he began to talk to Fluffy again. This time, Sunshine's behavior influenced Fluffy even further, and Fluffy began to use her voice. It also appeared to have developed more emotions because it began to feel fear over what it would be if it didn't infect Solar Flare, as well as Father's intentions. Solar Flare tried to calm it down, an action that suddenly increased the bond. This made Fluffy temporarily pass out as it heard the voices of Speed and Stella from the original timeline while they talked to their unhatched child. While Fluffy was hearing these voices, its eyes alternated between its red ones and a normal Eevee's, and one of its eyes began to grow eyelashes. When it came to, its eyes went back to their usual red coloring, but the eyelashes remained. Fluffy told Solar Flare what happened to it, and that it was unable to recognize the voices. After some more talk, the dream ended, but right before then, Fluffy's body changed to look just like Sunshine from the original timeline shortly before she died. Solar Flare noticed the change, but was unable to see too much of it.
Another day has dawned. Leaf was still down from the news she got the previous day. Leaf didn't want to talk about it, not even to her sister. But after participation from others, she asked Lazuli if she could forgive someone for her. Lazuli said yes without a second thought, and Leaf was about to tell her to forgive their father, but immediately changed it to something else. Leaf's mood remained, but soon it was cheered up by the others.
Oh, well, thank you, Party, for that amazing performance. I don't know. Uh, Subscribe to his channel, I guess. Uh, Link in the description. Anyway, back to the story. Cece had gotten some of her memories back. She now became aware of her abilities, and she remembered she came from a different world. During the fourth day of the vacation, Trace, now a Luxray, looked at a folder inside his house's computer. He had not checked it before because his father told him not to until he was old enough. Inside were a set of video files, which Trace quickly watched. The videos showed Trace's mother, Sally the Luxray, giving updates to what she was doing during her work for an organization. Trace got to know about the elemental metals and Gray's early actions through these videos. Trace was unable to play the very last video because it had corrupted, but asked his AI assistant, named Ricky, to solve that problem and to find as much info on Gray as it could. The next day, Ricky delivered its obtained info to Trace. The information said that Gray had a son named Albert the Alakazam, who recently began to continue what his father had started. Albert used his father's technology to create an upgraded version of the armored beasts, named Neo Armored Beasts. Elsewhere, the group went to explore a new place sometime later. This location notably had a large stone statues of Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and Arceus. There, Pearl approached Leaf and Solar Flare and talked to Leaf about what had been happening to her, knowing the cause due to Espion's mind-reading ability. Leaf said she wanted to see her father again, but was afraid to do so due to what he did to her. Pearl convinced Leaf that he could have changed and that she should meet him someday. The group of Evolution kept visiting the additional locations around the area they were in. Solar Flare bought an eye patch to use on his left eye to keep others from noticing its change when he began to eat a chocolate cake they were going to eat soon. Meanwhile, Trace activated the Thunder Metal, which was inside a power armor, and gave it the mission to infiltrate Albert's base and retrieve a blueprint of Sally's creations. Before it head out, the metal's version was briefly corrupted as it heard a voice that told it had found the metal, calling it its father. When the vision came back to normal, Speed's uploaded memories were corrupted, but the metal went to accomplish its mission regardless. During the Thunder Metal activation, Speed briefly saw Speed 2.0's point of view when it activated due to their bodies being linked in a way. 3 hours later, the cake came in. Just like solar flare, Cece's left eye turned red when everybody began to eat. Not wanting to hurt anyone, she immediately left. Speed, Flare, and Lazuli followed her to an isolated area and tried to help her, but she had already turned violent, so the only way to snap her out was to fight her. Lazuli was quickly knocked out, and Flare wasn't able to do much, leaving Speed to fight her. As the fight went on, Solar Flare noticed an orb of light that was seemingly calling for him and Fluffy. Only he was able to see it. He had received heavy damage, but tried hard to reach the orb, eventually succeeding. Once he did, his wounds were fully recovered and his Berserker Eye upgraded to stage 7. His right eye had slightly changed as well, and his personality completely changed. Speed enabled Turbo during the battle and suddenly saw Speed 2.0's status again. This time he had briefly heard the entity that had been tormenting his company. Speed eventually ran out of energy to remain in Turbo mode, giving CC the opportunity to finish him off. Shortly after Speed was killed once again, Solar Flare took his place, easily overpowering Cece, but he didn't need to defeat her due to her Berserker effects eventually wearing out. After she fainted, Solar Flare talked to himself about multiple things before fainting. Speed soon came back to life, and Solar Flare later regained consciousness. Now back to normal, but didn't know what happened after he ate the cake due to Fluffy taking over. Speed, Solar Flare, and Lazuli went back to where everyone else was, carrying Cece.
During those 3 hours, the Thunder Metal had reached Albert's military base, whose defenses had already been deployed. The corrupted memories began to be repaired as the metal fought the enemies. Once the metal found out it was not the real Speed, it named itself Speed 2.0. Shortly after this, the armor's vision corrupted once again, and the voice from before subsequently reappeared, which continued to call Speed 2.0 its father. This time, the voice said Speed 2.0 had let its child get killed, and that it had allowed them to suffer. Speed 2.0 was still unable to understand what any of this meant. Later on, Speed 2.0 saw a shadowy figure that used the same voice that had been corrupting its view. It looked similar to Fluffy's initial appearance. Speed 2.0 soon broke into the base. At the same time, Trace used an armor to head to Speed 2.0's current location. To remain undetected, Trace used the armor's cloaking feature. Trace tried to locate Albert, but was strangely unable to, and additionally detected thousands of Neo-armored beasts heading his way. Trace eventually met up with Speed 2.0, and both of them got to a room where Category 3 Berserkers were being experimented with to create Neo-armored beasts out of them. All the Berserkers inside the room had died except for a Pikachu that had lost one of its arms and its tail as it was being experimented on. Trace changed Speed 2.0's objective from retrieving the blueprints to stopping the Neo-armored beasts. Speed 2.0 freed the captured male Pikachu, who was named Ally. Speed 2.0 used his temporary evolution function on Ally, turning him into a Raichu. However, complications arose at first because Ally was infected, which nearly enabled Speed 2.0's Berserk mode feature. Speed 2.0 was able to talk to Ally's Amorphism, who he had named Mai. Speed 2.0 and Ally began to head to Trace's location, the base control room. On the way, Speed 2.0 communicated with the same voice from before, now able to understand what it was saying because it was in Ally's body. The voice represented multiple entities, which turned out to be Amorphisms. These Amorphisms belonged to different timelines inside the memory path, but were able to freely communicate with each other. All of these were Amorphisms that Speed was able to kill, now seeking revenge. This was possible because the Amorphisms Speed killed were transferred to the memory path and in a spiritual form. They have managed to kill multiple speed from other timelines, and they're now targeting this current timeline speed, using Speed 2.0 as a tunnel to reach him through. Their plan worked, but Speed 2.0 quickly blocked their access at the same time that Speed saw the vision during his fight with Cece. Speed 2.0, Allie, and Trace soon begin to fight a giant creature formed by multiple Neo-armored beasts. After devising a plan, they were able to destroy it. Afterward, they all resumed their intended objective. Speed 2.0 detached itself from Allie while they were in the control room, turning him back into a Pikachu. Trace failed to find Albert and was unable to retrieve any data from the room's computer because it had been deleted. The thousands of Neo-armored beasts Trace had detected were getting closer. Trace planned to trigger the base's self-destruct system to wipe them out, but heavily doubted it would destroy all of them, so he instead chose to retreat along with Speed 2.0 and Mai to prepare for another Berserker outbreak. However, the self-destruct system suddenly enabled right before Trace and Co. left. They were able to escape just in time.